Zen. There's you over there. I thought we might talk about the reset and animatronics, robots, holograms, and no, I'm gonna try to weave in the movie Altered, or the show Altered Carbon, Westworld, The Matrix, and Inception. And then also having the idea that the whole world is a stage. And yeah, that's we'll play around with these ideas. I'll wait for some people to show up, and I will sip on this cocktail here, which is fantastic, by the way. Hibiscus and rose, and what's up, Matthew Maxwell? Hibiscus, rose, and I use grape jelly because I'm out of sugar. Imagine that, out of a staple item, out of sugar. So I use grape jelly, and it works perfectly in there with the hibiscus. So fucking awesome. And the intro of the show, well, at least the title, about animatronics, and this kind of I don't know, staged reality. Like how much of it is staged, how much of it is set up and acted out and NPC type, and how much of it is freelance, freestyle, off the cuff, just winging it kind of reality. Because even people that aren't a part of the show are still going through loops. They're still doing what they're going to do. They're not ad libbing. They don't have that. They don't have the gift of gab. And I don't mean that just verbally. I just mean that instinctually, how to move through spaces and things. And also, so getting into this, let's see how I'm trying to see what angle I want to come at this idea from. Ah, nice. The struggles on a fast, man, they come in waves. You'll have one day where you're like, oh, I could do this forever. And then the next day you'll be like, why am I doing this? This is stupid. I really, really desire to eat something. I'm good. I should just eat. And then if you eat, oh, you're going to be pissed at yourself. You'll know when you need to stop. Like, it'll be very, very, very apparent. You've got to get over those little humps, though, of the... I mean, it's really, yeah. The waves and the good ones, though, when you're fasting, it's kind of like, in the middle of the day, if you're not fasting, when you're not hungry, you ate a while ago, you already took a nice healthy dump, and you're just kind of cruising through the day, that little space right there, where you're not going, oh, I gotta go eat, but you're kind of there, and you can be there for a very long time. And then if you extend that out, you go, when actually do I need to consume something again? I don't know that I do. It's kind of like then after you eat, it's like after I eat something heavy, I go, why did I just do that? But just about any time I eat, unless I really desired it and wanted it, and I felt like it was nutritious and healthy for me, I always go, why did I just do that? Why did I consume that? Yeah, but on the longer ones, the longer fasts, man. Oh man, you get in the super big highs, man. Like, why didn't I know this earlier? Why? Imagine all the days that you were just like sitting there struggling, mad about having that hanger. Is that what they call it? Angry and hungry. You get that hangry. You know, people that get that shit. They've been eating in like a couple hours. And then, like, you can see there's something that's happening with their blood sugar, with their perception of how hungry they are, their thirst, and then something neurological happens where they really do get angry. It's like some people do it like out of like they think it's cute. Oh, I'm hungry. I need to eat. But then other people like literally change like different people. But like once you realize what that is, that little thing, you kind of just go, I'm not hungry. I'm a little thirsty, perhaps. Get a drink of water. Get a drink of whatever. You good? You're good to go. And then you go, how come I didn't know this earlier in life? I wouldn't have had to waste so much time stopping for food, eating garbage. I would have all the time. It's always funny. All the time you save when you're fasting. Like think of how often you take a shit. How often do you have to cook, clean your plate, cook your food, go get your food, take a dump. You know, that takes up a good portion of your day, man. The consumption of food, and then you just open that up to, you know, if you're just doing juices, I mean, still you gotta get the juice and whatever. But I mean, hey, you got like all this extra time. You got extra time and extra energy at the same time. You give yourself extra time and a turbo boost in your life. It's pretty awesome. Maybe I'll get to this. Maybe we'll get to this animatronic talk in a second. I think it's I think it came up because somebody had said the birds aren't real. You know that conspiring idea. And it's always that there's all of these things going on that are real conspirings of people to do things, good, bad, and different. It happens all the time. And usually when you say something is a conspiracy, it's all goofy, right? And so they always connect the goofiest, most outlandish things to things that in reality look like you could actually verify, like these things are true. And so they take the really goofy ones. And then sometimes the really goofy ones are actually true too. And so what they do is they mix them up in the hodgepodge, and then if you believe one, then you believe all of them. See, that's how they trick you. But now the interesting thing about this birds aren't real. That they started killing off all the bird population, blah blah blah, and they're all animatronics. They're all surveillance birds. Now it's pretty simple to say, no, that didn't happen. There's plenty of living birds, but that doesn't take away the fact that they're witted to be birds that are not living birds, that are actually drones. It would only stand to reason. You know, you wouldn't have to replace the entire population of billions of birds with little robotic shits. That doesn't make any sense now, does it? Oh, you just have to mix it in. Anyway, and where would you mix it in? I mean, different cities, different, you know. Would you need so many in the countryside? Let the real ones live out there? Or would you put maybe the real ones don't even want to be in the city. They don't like that. Maybe put the fake ones in there. Who knows? But now, the idea is you just layer the conspiracies to sound more idiotic and idiotic. But here's something that seems pretty real to me. There's plenty of animals that you only see them at zoos. Are we sure that's not a guy in a suit? Are we sure that somebody's not paid to be a guy in a suit in a zoo from 8 to 5? Perhaps it is. Are we sure that's not an animatronic? You can't go in there. You can't touch it. I mean, there's really interesting animals they just don't look like they should be real. And there's some that verifiably, if you consider it, I said this before, and I've had this conversation with people because they swear they've seen one, and I'm like, I don't care if you've seen one. What I'm saying is that it has a prosthetic on it. It's a blackbird that's been painted, basically, hair dyed, and then a prosthetic beak. That beak does nothing. It can't eat. That beak is, you have to hand feed it. If that thing grew that way and it grew that beak, how's it getting its food? It's not. It can't eat. It's a prosthetic. I would bet most of my chips on that is definitely a prosthetic beak on those things. Where are they? I don't see any out here. Oh, they only live in specific climates. Okay. I mean, just because you put one on a bird doesn't mean they don't all they don't all go back, to some person is like the one feeding it at night. You don't know. There's too many animals that are wildly weird looking that you've never actually seen in person that you cannot verify exist. Now, when we get into that kind of thing, we also have to get into the use. We already know holograms exist. We already know animatronics have existed since the 1900, the late 1800s. We know animatronics was part of what was going on. So you're telling me since then technology hasn't advanced? So we got animatronics. We already seen holographs. We see robotics everywhere. You wouldn't be willing to believe that you're surrounded by these things, and maybe perhaps for a very, very long time. What if the ancient world, the really highly advanced, lots of technology, giant buildings, what if some people woke up to the fact that everything around them was actually staged, fake, animatronic, and that was part of the reset? That the last living souls became aware that everything was robotics, and then a few robotics. Started watching this show yesterday. It was basically, what the hell was the name of it? Basically, there was two android people, and they had grown an earthling baby, and started taking. It was called Raised by Wolves. It's a series, and I'd never seen it before. It was about these two androids that look human, but they raised this baby, this human baby, but they, in every way they were. So I only started it, but the idea, who's to say that we're not being, in all ways, shapes, and formed, and informed? I mean, we are by. Here's a computer. Are we not informed by computers, by televisions? I mean, by technology. We drive around, we get to these big businesses that are all kind of what's inside of there. All these plastics, all of these robots, all of these signals that are all computers, and how much do we know that isn't? We're watching holograms on here. Now they're projecting them out in reality, like out there. When you're walking down the street, you can see them in any major city. Who's to say that? I've already said watch. We think that that robot chick that they put on TV, whatever her name was. You remember she was like it was like half fake head, and it was like, oh, I'm Sophie or whatever that was, right? We go, oh, that's high technology. No, you can actually watch a movie that was made in the late 1990s called Kiosquates or Baraka, or like there's like four movies right around the same time, and one of them shows these robots that were built at that time. That was technology that was already out, so that was 20 some years ago. And when they filmed it, it was either earlier than that, so it was built even earlier than that. And that was public discourse that this guy had a robot built so specifically that they were standing next to each other, you could barely tell the difference, barely. So add a few little tweaks out of that, plus AI and everything. You're telling me that, so 1990s, that could have already been a fact. Not to mention, every technology you have today is at least 20 years behind what the highest level of technology is. They don't just release the highest level of technology to the public. That's insane. Remember when you were working with dial-up modem? There was what was called T line, like the data transfer line. Like you got your you can put it over the phone. You got to load a web page. No, that shit was adult because they had higher technology. You couldn't have that. You weren't allowed to have that. So put that across the board and all the technology and things that you think you know about. So how much of reality is how much is played out by actor roles, people that are like acting out their, you got the people that are going through, like, they work, they have a job, they're you, me, and they just go to their job, and they're gonna go home, and they're gonna play that, they're gonna microwave the burrito, they're gonna play that game, they're gonna watch that sitcom, and then they're gonna go on the weekend, and at noon they're gonna, they have that. That's their life, and they're gonna be happy. They're gonna have relationships and beers and ex-wives and blah blah blah. They're gonna go through their life. That's their life. But then you have people that are like, okay, I know that I'm pulling up the curtain. I'm pulling the curtain back. I'm setting up the stage. I'm acting. There's those people too, right? So how much of this reality in front of you, like out here, is that, and how much of it is our props? How much of it is? If they said the whole world is a stage, I mean certainly, but not. It couldn't all be happening at once everywhere, you know. There's, there's always downtime. But the animatronics, the robotics, they've been around for longer than people. People go, oh, this is the new high tech shit. Like, no, it's not. This is low tech. This is not like they say the leading edge. You ever heard the bleeding edge of technology? The bleeding edge is like before the leading edge. It's like the stuff that's in the cutting room floor that you don't even know about, or that is so high tech that like you can't let people have this. What will they do with this? You can't allow that. You can't. No, there's no public consumption of this. You can't give you keys to the universe. You might destroy something. It's the same thing. You don't give your kid the keys to the McLaren before they know how to drive. You don't do that. And that's the thing that we talk about in levels of magic. That it's all self-regulating. That you only get to, it's like an invisible staircase. You only get to the next step if you'll get there. Nothing stopping you, but nothing will allow you to if you don't have the proper foundational knowledge of how certain things work. Magical things. It won't work for you. Like I heard somebody trying to teach about magic, and they said, well, if you were trying to manifest, you're trying to manifest your lover or whatever, but you already know them and you're talking to them on a daily basis. Should you blah blah blah? And I was like, and the person was acting like they knew, and I'm like, you're misinforming people. Like it's not going to work. You're telling them to destroy the magic they're trying to create. Because first of all, you do not put magic spells on people. Period. End of sentence. You cannot. Do not. If you try and you do, it will come back to you tenfold negatively. You don't. You say I want or desire or I have love in my life. I'd like a woman. I'd like her to have blonde hair. I'd like her to have these qualities. You can have whatever you want, but you can't say that one right there. I want that one. You can't do that because that is taking over someone's free will. And if you do that, you're gonna have way more. That's a magic you don't want to play with. So the point is that magic is self-regulating in the sense that most of those things won't work to begin with. Like most little tricks and things that people do magically, it will have no staying power. It won't have any. It won't work. Technology, they're not going to hand it to you if it's outside of where you could destroy something. Why would I give you a stove to cook at if you don't even know how flame works? It's like in the best form of the analogy here. Warriors should be taught how to be healers before they're warriors. And society doesn't quite work that way. We've designed a bunch of destroying robots and machines and humans and NPCs and whatever. But the point is, you teach them first to be healers, then they know how to fix a problem, a dilemma, a wound, and they also teaches them empathy and compassion, and why you should never go to war to begin with. Why you should never damage something because they see what the damage is. The healer fixes the warrior, the wounded. What? You can't do it the other way around, or everybody would be dead. You have to have the healers first. What's up, Christopher Lee? Yes. Anyway, so I'm inside doing this today because I was informed by the weather gods that it's cold. Well, it's not cold. It's rainy and dark and wet. So don't go outside. So, okay. I'm not against going outside in the rain. I'm against going outside in the rain when there's nowhere dry to sit. So what else to go with this animatronics holographic? So Westworld, we're getting to the Westworld thing. Season 3, they get into some really interesting plot points. And well, season 2 they do too when you realize the one dude is not only a technology whiz, but also an actual magician doing something mentally. And then you find out there's the organic human say the carbon creatures, and then you find out there's the silicon creatures that are built separate, and the way that their brains function and their memory systems are different. And then how the silicon creatures can start to use their mind to do magic. So they start to override the system and operate the system, much like in the Matrix, where Neo has to go into the computer in the Matrix, and then he can control things in there. But then he did it from outside of the computer. It was like this whole silica carbon idea, which is really interesting. So whether we're carbon or silicon based creatures, or we can alter that. I mean, if you can alter reality, why couldn't you alter into being a silica being, a crystalline structure? I mean, if everything is just a bunch of atoms and how we place them, why not? Oh, welcome. If you guys missed out on it and you wanted to, remember, it just was my birthday, so you're willing. If you want to give some gifts, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. It's a $, capital TsarXen. It's in the description box. And if it's not because it's my birthday, and you just feel like being gifty, feel free. You can donate and help out this brother. And like how much truth is in movies? People say don't watch TV, don't watch movies. Yet the more and more that you explore these things, they seem to be like, if we looked at some of our reality that we didn't think would come to pass, say 20 years ago, things were really new to us. 20 some years ago, computers, when they started to be a big thing, and then like internets and all of, that's our big thing, right? But yet it was already shown to you years and years ago in books and movies. So what are they showing us now? We're supposed to just go, no? Did it shape our reality for the better, for the worse? Did it make us think it so that it became true? Or are they just telling you, well, there's going to be an operating system and a program and a hardware system running, and this is what the reality is going to look like. You can do anything you want inside of it, but don't worry, this is going to be the new operating system. You can't just go back to, what are you going to get? You going to get a fax machine out? You going to go do that? How's that work? Start faxing documents? You're going to go you're going to get in a phone booth in New York City? Can't do it anymore. They just removed the last phone booth from New York City. So there ain't no Supermans. Ain't no escaping the Matrix, dude. Curious, huh? But again, these movies and TV shows, are they not giving us clues into at least what it is now, if it's not already occurring, and is it going to occur? We've seen plenty of things in movies. Now, was it scripted? They make it happen? Was it in place? Do we go to there's nothing new under the sun kind of philosophy? Or we're just dipping in and out of realities? Could be that too. I think we're sitting within a reality construct, and we get to work within it. But we could jump realities into a different operating system, into a different hardware system. I think we can do that. You go to a different If you go to different city, town, state, whatever, you're kind of working under different hardware. I mean, I've lived in cabins. The way that I lived life there was completely different than I did when I lived in a major city, which was completely different than living at the beach. So my experience and the way that I had to adjust reality altered. So you can jump in and out of places, but even more so, I mean, what Earth are we on? Are we on Earth 2.0, 3.0, 5.0? Are we on the fifth density? Where's all these light workers out here? I thought we were going to the 5D world, dude. Would you leave us behind here? Or did we not get on the vegan bus? Oh man, we missed it. If we would have gotten on the vegan bus, we'd be in the 5D already. We would have escaped all of these, you know? We'd have escaped all these, the evil, demonic beings that are running reckless on this reality. Somebody just sent me your boy Joey B. All up on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Has a sitting president ever went on to a late night comedy show? A sitting president? I don't think that's ever happened before. I mean, isn't that how much of a joke the whole thing is? It's a goofy thing. Like they're so outlandish at this point. Okay, here's how outlandish it is. Your boy. Here. Let me tell you what. Also, I just noticed. Your boy, Trudeau, the Canadian jerk off, the prime wiener over there. He was hanging out with that doofus from California that runs California, and they were like shaking hands, saying they're making some sort of deal to do something. I'm like, I don't think that can happen. And some people were saying it's like treasonous or something. You can't do that because that's the head of a country, and you can't do business with the state. You have to go through the federal channels. Like there was something that was like really awkward about like why is the Trudeau's not hanging out with, shouldn't be hanging out with if the guy Joe Buddies, shouldn't Joe Buttons be hanging out with Trudeau? But now he out here in Cali, Galveston Newsom's, Julio Cesar Castro Chavez, which is interesting because wasn't that dude actually the good guy? You know, why they always paint the picture of them as the bad guy? Wasn't he the good guy in this story? Which, whatever, I don't, yeah, it's all stories, right? But I'm like, they're just out and out, just, hi, we have money and we'll just be on the news and do whatever the hell we want. Hey, I live in a big house, I run this shit. You live in a big house, you run this? According to who? I think if people just unanimously is like, well, no, actually you don't. You're not in control of anything. What would he control? He could drive his fucking stupid car around, and probably not too many places, because I don't think he'd be welcome. I mean, would you invite that dude into your home? Either of those assholes? Really, would you let? How many places do you think Joe Biden could freely roam in this country if he just walked? If he was just like he's like, hey, I'm the leader of the free world and anything goes, and he doesn't have like gangs of guns and you know shits around him to protect his dumbass, him and Bloden or whatever the guy's name, Trudeau's and all, these people, like really, where would they be welcome? I'm thinking not much of anywhere. Am I wrong here? Who would be like, yeah, that's a good guy. That's who I want controlling my life and making sure they lie to us about everything and they fuck up the channels of getting foods and make sure that I spend more money on gasoline when that's not actually true. And yeah, they're gonna make me pay more, and then they're gonna smile and I shake their hand and be cool with that. I'm good with that? No, I'm not good with that. Who would be? What kind of goofy person do you have to be? Oh, Matthew. Yeah, sirloin and some sausages. Oh man, I hear you on that. I used to cook whenever I fast for people, and they couldn't understand how I would do it, but I got off on the fumes. Like I just could breathe it, and I could ingest it that way, right? But yeah, I was thinking about making a. I was really wanting prime rib, so that was my focus today, to get some prime rib. But it's looking messy out, so I don't feel like going shopping. Oh yeah. I mean, really, if you really put it all together, all of the papers and the constitute and all of these things, they don't matter. Somebody elected these people, that doesn't matter. If 50% of people, let's say this, if 40% of people didn't vote, 30% voted for that guy and 30% voted for that guy, 31-29. More people didn't vote for either of them. If we said 50%, so 50% of people don't vote. 25 do and 25 vote for one guy and one. You're in the bigger. So the fact that we didn't vote means I do not consent to you having any leadership or a say over my life whatsoever. And in fact, stay away from me. What you say and do, keep it over there. And we're on that side, the majority of us. And the people that voted for the losing side, they're literally saying, I don't want you to be in charge of shit. So in reality, how are these people even, they're not legitimately anything. They're legitimately just standing, because they have a bigger channel. They got a bigger say on the media sources. They got they got somebody to scribble some papers down for them. Who the fuck cares? hey, let's just get into cahoots here and enslave people and lie to them. Ha ha. Hey, let's just not give them enough food, make them pay more. Ha ha. What's wrong with these people? And what's wrong with most people that allow for this shit to happen? Now, people that support it. There are people that support this. They encourage it. They're worse than the ones that are in front promoting it, doing it. They're less accountable than the ones that are holding that shit up. They're more accountable. The framework for keeping those fucking people in power, you're the assholes. I mean, how much more simple could it be? Y'all need to stop supporting that shit and watch how that doesn't exist anymore. And then you know what happens? And then gas prices go down. Everybody gets their food, and people start treating each other with respect. And we stop listening to the assholes that divide oh, you never heard about that? You never heard about any of these books? That you didn't go to school? You didn't read? You don't divide and conquer? You don't know problem, reaction, solution? You don't know any of this? I mean, who are these cucks? What's up, Melvin? I'm doing all right. Just made some mashed taters, drinking some hibiscus and rose tea. And yeah, speaking of that, might as well pour myself a little vodka in there. A little vodka and some hot sake. It is that kind of day. I feel like getting a nice afternoon buzz. I do. I took a few days off because it was my birthday, and I had a long few days of rambunctiousness and insanity. So I took a few days off. Got nice and healthy things to eat and chilled out. And now today I feel like an afternoon buzz. And they'll encourage me to talk a bunch of shit on here. Just throw me a softball pitch, or throw me a live grenade, or throw me some matches and some gasoline, and let's go. What do you want to talk about? But anyways, if you guys want a little recipe, rose, hibiscus, and then I didn't have sugar, so I used grape jelly. And the grape jelly in here is perfect. It's like it's like making it with grape juice. Big fan, big fan. Can I talk about my first OBE? Sure. Let me think about this. Let me. You want to watch how my computer system and your computer system works? You can use your eyeballs in different places to unlock core memories. This is the thing. In your system, like sometimes you look up for this and some. I forget where they all are, but there's ways of accessing piece of information. And as I'm looking around, I'm just trying to remember what my first one was. My first legit out of body. I think it's one I've told before, but it's because I think it's the most profound, and it was super clearly. Actually, I've had some before that. See, astral traveling and some that I didn't really have a huge out of body experience. Like years and years ago when I was in Baltimore, I had a couple. But they weren't prompted by me. Like I wasn't attempting to do it, so I wasn't able to fully immerse myself in experience. Right? It was when I was learning about them, but I wasn't really trying to do it. I was like reading and going, interesting. I'll have to try this out. And then I was out of body. One I had that was super intense was when I was in Indiana, and I lived in this house in Bloomington that used to be owned by some old lady, which I didn't know at the time. So we moved in, it had just been rehabbed, and there was all these flowers and things and stuff outside. Didn't know who owned it before. It was just a redone house. And this is the time I was really into making my own tinctures and very much into astral travel, getting out of body. I think I had a bunch of really interesting colloidal things from Savan, and I had some other elements that I was also working with, but also I was super vegetarian head. I was very focused on getting out of body. Everything was working in order. So I don't know that they helped or whatever. They did not help, obviously. But anyways, so one day in the afternoon, I want to take a nap. I was like, let me try to get out of body. So I'm sitting there listening to some binaural beats, and I put I have these pillows that are made out of buckwheat, so they're really heavy, and I like the feeling of it on my forehead and over my eyes, so it's basically a face mask, but it covers up my forehead and makes it feel really dense. So I put that on my forehead in the afternoon, so now I got no light coming in. I got my blackout curtains up, and I started listening to these binaural beats, and I start going through putting my body to sleep. I go through my toes, to my knees, to my hips, the whole thing. And then as soon as I'm starting to feel super heavy, and my brain starts to get into that zone where I'm falling asleep, I start adjusting. I start rolling left and right. So you can either lean up or roll left and right, but you're doing it with your mind, and not your body, not with your physical body, but it feels like your body's moving until all of a sudden whatever's inside of you, your next layer of your spiritual body, peels out of your physical body. So I'm laying there, and I rolled over to my left, and my whole body rolls out of this body. And I go, huh, I just fell on the floor. Except for, I get up, I look over, and there's me laying in the bed. I go, fucking sweet. So my door is open to my room. And I was like, no shit. And I stayed, didn't fuck up my breathing, didn't do anything. I was like, cool, this is what I want to do. Walked down the hallway, got to my front door, and I look out the windows, and I can see out the windows that there are, that is light outside. And I go to grab the front door, but my hand goes through the knob, and I couldn't grab it. So I'm like, how the hell am I getting outside? I was like, oh, I can just walk through it. So as I walk through it, you know how like in the Matrix, you can see everything. You can see the fabric of how atoms are kind of held together. Like how something denser, it will look denser. There's like more things vibrating. So like as I'm going through the door, it felt like I was going through sand, like a thick gelatinous substance. And I pop through the other side, and there's the sun, and I'm outside. And there's my neighborhood. Exactly as I moved. It's the same place, same time. And I just walked around the streets until I don't know, at some point I was like, all right, cool, what can I do out here? Then I start flying, fucking around flying, and that will, you get very excited because now you're feeling the density difference. So your breathing pattern might change. And so then it changes back in your body. And then your brain waves change and it sucks you back in. So it did that to me a couple times. And then you can also get out of body. So after that happened, I wake up, I'm like, fuck, okay, and I go back to sleep. And then from a lucid dream, where you're basically just consciously having a dream, you go, oh shit, I know that I'm awake. And then from there, you can put yourself somewhere. You can astrally project, which is very close to getting out of body. You're just not peeling yourself out. You're just projecting yourself. And I'm back outside. Back to where I kind of finished the last part of my astral / out of body experience. Yeah, there you go. I suggest trying to do them with the wake back to bed, like do it at night, and set your alarm for every 15 minutes or so. You'll keep waking up because your alarm's going to wake you up, just like it does. Remember in the movie, the Inception, where they have the alarms? That's literally what you're doing to yourself. So you don't get stuck in a dream, and if you get stuck in a dream too long, you'll forget the whole fucking thing. That's the dilemma. And when I say dream, I mean out of body, astral projection. You're in another realm. It's connected. So yeah, that's the point of doing it. So sometimes you'll be in a dream and you'll be like, I want to stay here. But if you don't get used to it, that alarm is very helpful to pull you back. And you'll still have memory of that. Or if you stay there too long, the memories will start dissipating. Kind of like, let me ask you, tell me about your thoughts, everything you did for the past week. Where'd you go? You don't remember. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? You might be able to piece it together, but if I just wake you up and I say, what did you do last an hour, you could probably tell me everything you did. Yeah, that's one of them. I've had the astral projection going through the wormhole, through the tunnel, where you hear all the whoo and spin and you see, that's astral travel. That's going to a different time space. Out of body is literally just pulling yourself out of body real time. Very similar thing. I don't know if you're using a separate body to do that, or it's just a separate way of accessing in that realm. What do I mean by realm? I mean just different density, different space. Like an out-of-body experience is basically, let me see if I can talk through it for you. So I'm still in this space. If I get out of body, I'm still in this space, but my body is at a different frequency. So if the light is pulsing 60 frames a second, you get a camera and the light, all of a sudden the light looks like it's flickering, but it's not because the light's on a certain pulsation and the video camera is on a different one, 80 frames a second. If I get out of body and I'm using the body that's inside of me, this body is pulsing at 120 and this one's pulsing at 60. But I can somehow get this one out of here, out of this skin suit. It's not going to be in frame rate with what's going on in this reality. So no one will see me because they're not going to be on that frequency. They're in this body frequency. They're not at, it probably wouldn't be in half harmonic. It'd probably be in thirds. It really doesn't matter what the math, I mean, it matters what the math is if you want to figure it out. I'm sure someone's done the math work on it. But essentially it's that getting out of body. So you're still at, so these walls ain't going anywhere because they'd still be working on every harmonic. Meaning, if they're working at 80, then they're working at, let's just say 160, then they'd be working at 320, they're working at 640. Let's just use that, right? So if your body is working at, but let me explain. So my body here is sitting in this in this octave, right? In this octave right here. And we're sitting here at 80. This is what my body's at. And I'm seeing this at 80. That wall is still there at 160, 320, right? And if I take the body inside of me out, everyone else that's in this physical body is not going to see that body, but I'll still see these walls. And I'll still see everything on other octaves. See how an octave works on a piano? I'm still in the reality of the whole piano. The whole piano is, but this what here we're working in right now, there's one octave of that piano. Those 13 keys, or those 12 keys, the white ones and the black ones. Those right there in the middle, that one, there you go, there's your chord, that's right there. But the whole thing, the whole piano is, to get a little farther, the reason it works that way is because of all the stars you see. There's 88 constellations, which are the 88 piano keys, which are the octaves that it seems like we live within. So that would be the framework of the piano, that are the octaves on that. That's reality. And now if we can get outside of that one, that's a whole different, maybe that's Mars. Maybe that's maybe that's a realm over there that's just working. The sunlight over there is working different. There could be a sun sitting there right next to the one we have right here, but if that's frame rate is 793, you're not going to see it. It's not going to affect you. What's up, Andy Z? Yo. What it do? Hopefully that all made sense. Made sense to me. So I'm just rewatching. I've been rewatching a few shows because the next chapter is coming out, and I'm just started rewatching Altered Carbon. There's this one chick on there. Her face is, I don't know. You ever see someone's face, like Minnie Driver? Remember, like they're just weird. It's just a strange looking person. There's a chick on here that has that strange looking person quality, which looks almost non-human. This is like a porcelain doll kind of look. Andy, Um, Interesting. So if that's the case, though, then what is that? Then following logic, what's the umbrella corporation? Like you said the USA, but the USA is under other corporate entities, even by that standard. And for that matter, obviously we would be assisting whatever that is, but to me that's just bigger part of the play anyways. So why would it be damaging our economy? It wouldn't be. It's like who's pulling the strings, because they'd be pulling strings for whoever the Ukes are in, and whoever the Ruskies, and to what degree, again, as per usual, what degree of that do we even believe isn't scripted, green screen? Some of it's outside, no doubt. Some of it's happening outdoors. Some of it's taped off. Some of it. But it'd be like believing that would be like believing so many other false flag things that are going on in this country at the current moment in time. Uh, yeah, Andy, I hear you. Yeah, that thing, to me, that's all part of the whole thing anyways. It's not like, to me it's all like an overarching, like the whole thing that there's one world government and like people, it's already been done. It already happened. It's already, everyone, all the countries have been in cahoots. No one's no one's like, "Oh, we want your stuff over there. We're gonna go," and like that's not, that happens in micro levels, and most of it is you. It'd be like if dad owned all the land, I'm dad, and I got my two sons here, and I give you an acre and him an acre. And then I got 10 sons, right? And I got 10 acres. I give them all an acre, right? And they gotta come to me to say, hey, I want some of what Bobby's got over here. I want some of what Joey's got over here. Like they gotta come ask me. So who is that? Because these countries are still, they're not autonomous. These nations are not autonomous, especially when they have to work in cahoots in trade and barter, like the imports and exports. That's not going anywhere. Ooh, we won't give them any of this. Well, then they don't get any of this. Ooh. That's who's they. Then it would be talking about just the standard citizens, the proletariat, the peons. I mean, then they go, oh, we don't give a shit about them. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they don't, but I can't see them fighting and battling over things when there's already larger people pulling the strings that that like you wouldn't know who they were. And the whole idea of like, oh, fucking Biden's this and this, so and so is that, like, who cares? They've all been doing it for years. It's not going to just stop. You're not. And on top of the things that goes out to the media, you realize the media is working for them. So if the media is telling you something, it's because they want you to think that. Like to think that, oh, fucking this guy, he's got ties with the baddies, and he was there was an island where they're all eating blood off of children, and like, whether that happens or not, you ain't doing shit about it. And the only reason that you have information, which is probably most of the time, what do you call it, a red herring? It's just to dilute you and to get you to focus on something else. Everybody's like, oh, everyone's paying attention to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp to keep you away from this news that you should be paying attention to, the Maxine Giselle or whatever. Like, no, that also is news that you don't need to know about. Because why would they tell you? Who cares? You can't do anything about it. Remember that. There's nothing you can do about anything. So don't pay attention to it. What can you control? Start there. That's the most frustrating thing to talk to anybody. Well, if Trump was in, okay, you already missed the boat. All right, well then you get into the people that what news is the right news? It's all not right news. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you watch the news, you're misinformed, and that's all of it. All of it. Every single piece of it. The only time you're getting any reasonable news is intelligent people that condense all the information and go, well, what can we extrapolate from here and kind of figure out? Other than that, whatever they're telling you, if they're telling you something a lot, what good is it? How is it helping you? Any of that. It's all the distraction, all of it. Hunter Biden, he did cocaine and fucked some hookers. Who the fuck cares? So did everybody you ever known in your life. Your father probably did. Yeah. Your father's a cocaine laden, everyday crack-headed street hustler, fucking prostitutes. Cheat on your mother too. Oh, how dare you speak about my father like that? He'd know better than Joe Biden or his stupid ass son, right? Who cares? Motherfuckers out here trying to criminalize trivial bullshit. That's the point. You're missing. They're distracting you from what you should be doing. You should be growing flowers with your mind. You should be creating things, immaculate, wonderful, splendid realities. But instead, people go, oh, somebody pooped on somebody's bed. Oh. But what's on that guy's? He did lots of drugs. He was in a bathtub looking like... Man, you've been laid out in dumber ways, stupid. People want to talk about the news as if any of it has any benefit to your reality. That is there. It's there to help you. Come on. Don't play with me. Yeah, it's the whole. What game are they playing? They play the It's a standard back and forth with like the hero villain story. Every war's got the heroes are the ones that win, right? How true is that ever? Are both sides always righteous? Is one side completely wrong? One side is victorious because they were right, and the good guys that are always right about everything always win, and they write the history. Do the bad guys ever win? Do the ones that were wrong ever win, and then they're writing history in their version? I mean, yeah, You're gonna get the correct history from the people that came and took over the lands of America. You're gonna get the real history. There's more of them. They own the printing presses. They no matter if they came and clobbered and destroyed and killed and murdered and viciously destroyed, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we're the bad guys. We're gonna go ahead and put that in the history books. And then if you want everybody to come into your casino, what's the first thing you need to do? You need to distract them from focusing on winning their bets. How do you do that? You confuse them, made the carpet all funky, You don't let that. There's always bells and white lights and whistles. There's no clocks to be found. You'll never know what time it is. Never know what time it is. Too many distractions. Well, the news is nothing more than a distraction. You could use it as entertainment. You could say, well, if this is all going on in the news, if this is all, well, it's the top story for tonight. I mean, what is this stupid game? What's this stupid game we're playing these days? Yeah, no Windows either. There you go. Forgot about that, Christopher Lee. No windows. No real light. They changed the way your brain operates by the color of the lights in the building. You'd be smart to wear red glasses. Yellow, perhaps, but purple could be good. No actual light. Artificial light. Weird sounds. Imagine working there and listening to that shit all day. If you don't go a little bit psychotic yourself. Yeah, somebody on here works at a casino. Who the hell was that? I forget who that was. I mean, I guess if you're dealing cards or in different areas, like you can be far enough away from some of the distracting noises, but hey, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna go over to my other channel and see if anybody exists there anymore, or just go say hi. So if you guys want to jump over there, I'm gonna go back to my original channel because I haven't done that in a while. Zen Alchemist, which should be, but mathematically there should be 20 times as many people that show up. So we'll see if that happens. Good to see everybody. I'm gonna go refill my drink, take a dump. That'll give me like a 15-minute break, and then I'm gonna come back on Zen-Atman. This is Zen Alchemist, yes. Hopefully that works. Hopefully I wasn't already on that one. Who knows? And always the 5 things I want to tell you. One is feel free, donate, help out. Birthday gifts are always welcome. This is this is birthday month. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, blah blah blah. Feel free. Very much appreciate it. And this reality, it's yours. Enjoy it. Take care of yourself. Fill up your cup, and when it overflows, help others. And be as goofy and strange and enjoy your reality. Be fun. Be quirky. Be whatever the hell you need to be. I'm gonna go. You go take this dump, and I'll be back. I'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys.